Hey there, YouTube. It's Kurt here. Today we're going to talk about True Draco and why it deserves to be hated by 100% of the player base. Alright, so True Draco is very good at doing two things if you've never seen a replay. Here's some replays. But while I'm doing these replays, it's very good at drawing. It's very good at drawing cards. It's very good at tribute summoning a monster with your back row. With your back row that gets good effects when they get sent to the graveyard. It's very good at using Draconic Diagram. It's very good at using Card of Demise, which draws more cards. And it's very good at using 17 floodgates. Now, if this doesn't sound fun to you, well, I mean, you're probably a very rational and sensible human being. This one shouldn't be fun for anybody. This shouldn't be fun for anybody playing the actual deck. We have a short time on Earth. We have, our generation might have 80 years. It depends on how, fat we are and unhealthy we are. But we have a very short amount of time, and we're spending it trying our best to draw through half our deck and get to a floodgate so we can prevent another player from playing what's supposed to be a two-player game. That's what we're trying to spend 40 minutes to do. And then subsequently, I'm making this argument. I am getting on the internet, and I'm complaining about someone actually doing this in real life, and that's where I am in life. Pretty ironic, huh? But anyway, I'm glad that is off my chest. But very seriously, when we're talking about the game and whether this deck is good for the game, I think 95% of players would tell you no. But it's not just public opinion that we should pay attention to when we think of whether we should nerf a deck or just bully it out of existence, kind of like Mystic Mine, which Mystic Mine is still a thing. Metaverse wasn't quite what we needed. We still need to hit something else, like maybe put Mystic Mine itself to 1. That would probably be great. But yeah, Konami... Why? They just look at decks like True Draco and they say, this deck needs to have Solemn Judgment at 3. That's perfect for the game. No, it's actually really, really terrible for the game. So in this game, we only have limited amounts of back row removal. A lot of people are starting to carry Twin Twisters in their deck. Very good. I'm happy for that. We should be worried about back row. But what we shouldn't be able to do, if we actually commit to having back row removal in our decks, we shouldn't have to worry about that back row removal giving us a -1 just to get Solemn Judgmented, and then having a floodgate pop up just to prevent us from playing the game in general. Anyways, that is part of my problem. And I think that's part of the general Yu-Gi-Oh player, the average Yu-Gi-Oh player's problem with True Draco. Of course, we do need some decks that are kind of have a low skill-intensive entry for the game and give the players somewhat of a chance. But I do not for a second think that True Draco is the correct answer to that. You should not just be able to summon Inspector Borner and Judgment and win games. That's literally what was in the replay of Mega Capital G's replay. That is not good for any sort of game whatsoever. I can't even compare it to anything. So what is partially busted about True Draco is draw power. Draw power is seen as being very, very terrible. It's something that's really nerfed in Yu-Gi-Oh! And if they do have draw power, generally speaking, it's either Pot of Desires where you banish a third of your deck, which that's pretty balanced. It takes care of a lot of things. It forces you to use 2-ofs in your decks and punishes you for using 1-ofs, and it really changes around your build. And it hurts sometimes. Pot of Desires really, really genuinely hurts. That's a good example of draw power. But then we have cards like Card of Demise. Of course, that hurts 9% of decks. But then decks like True Draco, where it does not hurt them whatsoever, it gives them a literal +3 for no reason. A literal +3. It's not a pot of greed. It's a pot and a half of greed. That is just completely mind-blowingly insane. And I just don't understand the rationale of having a deck that basically can get to its win con in 1 turn every single game. Every single game. And if you win enough die rolls should not be as impactful as True Draco makes them. And I don't think any Yu-Gi-Oh player is going to stop on hitting True Draco until something happens, like Dragonic Diagram, which is not a hard once per turn. The holy grail of Yu-Gi-Oh is the hard once per turn, and that's what is key to great, good card design. Is missing from Dragonic Diagram. It's not a hard once per turn. And that enables so many other degenerate things, like it also, like people turbo out calamities, things like that. That's a little bit oppressive in itself. But Dragonic Diagram is a problem card, and the OCG has already recognized this. Now with the floodgates all need to be limited. Yes, I am being serious. Summon limit. Limited. We should limit summon limit. You shouldn't be able to have 2 copies of that. You shouldn't have 2 or 3 copies of there can be only one in your deck at the same time, just to basically shotgun your opponent, say, hey, I'm going to throw all these on the field at the same time. Hopefully you cannot play. That is terrible. That is terrible, terrible game design. And the last two videos I have made have been fairly negative. And I want to reinforce this point, though. I would not play this game if on some level I did not enjoy it. And there are sometimes ways around these things. But right now, there just aren't enough ways, and we should always be seeking balance in the game. And things have gotten a lot better. And I applaud Konami for designing cards like Nibiru. Nibiru, Dark Ruler No More, and yeah, Dimension Shifter was pretty good too. But those cards are the Megatons. Those are awesome examples of great card design. But we should always strive to have some level of improvement and balance that with our satisfaction. So overall, Konami, you've been doing a great job, and I think these are some steps in the right direction. Not a lot of people might view this video, but I think a lot of people will agree with me. And the only people that won't agree with me are probably the people that only play True Draco. But that's all I got to say about that. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you like this video, subscribe. I might take a little break here. Maybe do a video in a couple weeks. We'll see what happens. So peace.